Hey guys, welcome back to the Your Last Resort podcast. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll have clips, videos, long form, all that coming out constantly. So make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. Check out the Instagram page. Thank you for listening. Now enjoy the episode. Did you ever watch Deadliest Warrior?
Yes.
It was I think they just ran out of shit to do, like you were saying, because it was good, and I'm sure the ratings dropped. Because at the end I remember that was.
It'd be like, what if Gandalf, what if Gandalf fought Harry Potter?
That would be kind of hard though, but that would get so ridiculous, and they'd need like a crazy ass.
Because then he has the unicorn feather in his wand versus his staff. They're like 5 out of 10. It did break in episode 6.
That would be so funny though. You know, they bring in, they're like, this is like a KGB expert. Like we have a Harry Potter expert. It's just some nerdy ass kid. He's like,
trans people aren't real.
And welcome back to the Your Last Resort podcast with your host, Brandon Lejean. This week it's episode 140, and I'm joined for the fourth time by my good friend, Galyn Nash. Thank you for doing the podcast. Appreciate it.
Is it really the fourth time?
Fourth time. I went back and counted, kind of wanted to see. I thought that'd be cute.
Do you number them? Like I number them?
It's not. So it's not Galyn Nash 4, because all my episodes have like titles based off something in the episode. But I think you were
on
on
episode 7, and
yes.
we recorded it. I was when we recorded it, I was recording through my AirPods while I was delivering packages for Amazon. Like I was just like at work, and I was like, I guess I'll just do this kids podcast.
Yeah, well,
and now we're in the fucking studio at Creek in the Cave in Austin, Texas, recording in 4K.
I know, it's fucking. We've came a long way, because
it's crazy.
I remember too. We weren't like really friends then. That was like right when I started comedy, and so like. I mean, I started my podcast like almost immediately when I first month into comedy. I started it ish.
As we do.
Yeah, as we do.
As
yeah,
you know,
the way you're supposed to do it. And then and we were like kind of friends, and I think it was like the pandemic was kind of starting to hit. We were like cordial but not like homies, and I had you do the pod, and I could tell that you were doing something else. Because there'd be these moments where, like, I was obviously, like, so nervous to interview. I was like, oh, my God, this guy goes on the road. He's a comic. That's what I want to fucking do. Like, I got to be really professional. I remember I'd ask you these, like, super long, intricate questions, and it'd finish, and then there'd just be 10 seconds of silence, and you'd be like, yeah, I mean, I don't really know, but, like... I'm like, yeah, that's what's up, dude. And I remember my mom was like, because I was like, I got this big comic on, and I'm super excited. You got to listen to the episode. And she was like, I don't mean this in a mean way, but I feel like he wasn't really listening to you.
Yeah, dude, I was delivering packages for
Amazon.
I mean,
we've all
There's
been
a part
there.
of the podcast where I was like pissing in a water bottle.
That's so crazy.
I was like, yeah, man, open mics, just keep grinding, brother.
Yeah. God, I can't believe you worked for Amazon. The videos you used to send me were horrifying, dude. The way you would just fuck packages up and
allegedly,
you know, fuck
allegedly
some packages
with video.
Up. Yeah. Allegedly with video. I feel like we're outside the statute of limitations at that point.
Well, I would who cares? I mean, the thing that was crazy is that Dom also worked there. I got him a job there too. This was like during the pandemic and shit. I started working there before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. I'd like to say that it was like, it was just a pandemic job.
But you were when I met you were an Amazon driver.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I had this route one time where I would be delivering to like my mom's neighborhood, which is freaking awesome, because then I would just like take my lunch break and just like have lunch at my mom's house.
Yeah.
But she and her neighbor have like this crazy neighborhood like beef where they'll like smoke weed and they'll like blow it into her windows and shit, like stuff like that, just petty shit like that. And so like I would also, like, they didn't know me because I didn't live with my mom. And so I would deliver their neighbors' packages, and I would just stomp them out.
Oh, my God.
Like, there's videos, and I could pull them up because they're in my mom's chat, but I would literally stomp them out. And one time, like, there was, like, lotion, like, in one of the packages, and it just exploded. And I literally just dropped it off on the fucking...
You're a scumbag, dude.
I'm a scumbag. Don't blow fucking weed into my mom's house.
Oh, all right, then. Yeah, I mean, there's some... I get that, then. It's just more like... There's that.
I also egged her other neighbor the one time, and it was like some like John Wick shit, because like it was crazy because me and my buddies, there was like 4 of us, and this is like right before we moved, and so I was like, oh, let's give these people a going away gift.
Yeah.
And so me and my buddies, we were allegedly wasted, and we took an Uber to to the grocery store. Yeah. It's so funny because I almost said Ralph's, but now we have like listeners in like Austin. And
yeah,
so
they're like, the fuck is Ralph's?
Isn't that hilarious that we had to just start changing the name of like stuff?
Oh yeah.
Like, now instead of saying like Ralph's, I say grocery store. Instead of saying like Walmart, because some places don't have Walmart, I'll be like grocery store.
Yeah, it's just easier to say grocery store than like trying to explain to someone that there's another place besides their market.
It's like, Ralph's, it's owned by Kroger. You know what Kroger is too? No? Okay, well, Kroger is this other grocery store that owns this other grocery store, and then they're owned by a bigger company that's owned by L'Oreal, Pantene. And it's just like,
well, then in Texas we have fucking HEB too. And
yeah. Which HEB is fucking rad.
It's super sick. You saw they opened a 2-story one, like over on Lake Boulevard or whatever, like in South Austin, and you have to take. It's kind of like you ever go to the 2-story Target in Brea that was across from the mall.
No,
we
went to a 2-story Ross in
Denver. Denver, yeah. It's just it's like one of those things where it just doesn't need to be 2 stories, but
feels
for
bougie.
some reason, that's the whole point. I mean, literally, like. I haven't been, but I saw it on like every like Austin Food Chronicles or like I'm the Austin Food Taster and today I went to HEB, the 2-story one. They had groceries and you're like, yeah, dude, it's a fucking grocery store. What'd you expect?
Dude, those hold on before I get into that. So like we went to the Ralph's, the grocery store, and we got like 110 eggs. This is like back before they were like $1,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a big baller now to get 110 eggs.
And so my mom's. She lives in a mobile home park, of course, and the neighboring one, they're on the backside of this river trail, this riverbed, and so we just hopped the fence into the river trail, walked all the way down, and all 4 of us just started unloading on this dude's house, just unloading like all these eggs, and you know they wake up, of course, because we're smashing them into windows, like fucking hitting their cars, like everything, and then I threw a couple in my mom's house just to like But I threw him in a spot where it'd be easy for my mom to just kind of like wipe him off. I think I hit her car on one, and of course I let her know. I was like, hey, make sure you get that before it gets to the paint. But I hit it on the windshield, so it'd be just a whoop whoop, and then the people like come out and they're like, hey, and we're like, fuck you, and we like just also this is hilarious because I was like 25 years old.
Oh my dude, this whole story I'm thinking you're like 14 years old.
No, I said this is right before we moved, and we were.
Yeah, you're right.
I said we were wasted.
No, you're right. I mean, we were getting wasted at 15, 16 years
I wasn't.
Old. Oh, I was. Yeah.
But and so like so we're like fuck you, like as 25-year-old people, and we're all just running away, and they like chase us in our car, and so we get like separated. So we had to like hop this fence into this apartment complex. Yeah. And like it was like straight out of a movie, and then we got away, and we reconned at a what is it like when you like
rendezvous?
Yeah, we rendezvoused at a Del Taco. But yeah, and so like what you were saying about like the food people, isn't that shit? It's so funny because there's this girl that I went to high school with, and she just started posting like heavily edited videos of like herself cooking and dressing up, and this is my favorite outfit, and like all this stuff. And I was like, every time I see it, I'm like, and because she also has like 500 followers, and like it's like 10 likes on these, and I'm like, yo, you got like a like for every 20 minutes you spent editing. And so like my thing is I was like, I'm sitting here like watching this, and I'm like, who is this for?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be like, it's strictly a hobby for her, I suppose, But,
I mean, and then I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and then it was funny because like I was like sending it to her. I was like, who's this for? Like, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, don't ever go to my TikTok.
I mean, that is the crazy, because I'm with you. It's that thing where it's like, I mean, I can't act like we're too high and above. Like,
no, I'm saying we have to start somewhere. Exactly. So it's like I understand putting out the content and stuff,
and learning.
But there's just some things where like she like recorded herself making like this blueberry smoothie with like these super like intricate. Like you have to go to a specific market to get these things. I'm like, nobody's watching this and then driving 30 minutes to a fucking produce mart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what I mean. But that's what I meant. Like, who's this for? Like, I get the like the dressing up videos and like the style and then like the other thing, or like, but if you're going to do like a cooking video, you better like do something with like something simple. Like there's videos of those people going to the 99-cent store and making like like they have $10 and they make a meal. Cool. That's something I could do.
Yeah.
I'm not making some blueberry aloe fucking smoothie
acai bullshit that costs like $40. Yeah. And you're like, this is not. I'd rather go to Jamba Juice. I'd save money and time going to Jamba Juice. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you because it's
anyway, Kaylee, keep putting out the videos. Just know I'm watching.
It's the same way though, where it's like, I mean, I put out a lot of like videos and stuff for this, and there's those moments where you're like, why am I doing this? But it's like at least helped grow, and it's comedy adjacent, and it's helped me get jobs and like further my career and shit. So I'm like, cool, I get that, but I'm with you the same way where I'm like, I mean, I guess the whole thing is the same kind of us. Like if you work hard enough, you'll make it. But I'm just like. Yeah, like that's even what you want to spend with your free time is I think it's this is like I think we forget is like okay, we both have to have day jobs because we're not like that with comedy yet. You know, we gotta work. You work at Jimmy John's, I do editing shit. Like
way to shout that out.
We have to. I mean, I can take it out if you don't want.
No, I'm just kidding. You were pretty close to just saying the address.
Yeah. This Jimmy John. Yeah, we'll put his schedule between us if you want to come harass him. But like. We have the day job and shit. I think the thing is like, okay, we have to then go do comedy too at night. So it almost sometimes feels like we have like 2-ish jobs. I know comedy's not like a job, but it's like you go to work you go to the work during the day and then you're like, I got to go hang. I got to go to this mic. I got to go to this show. Like there's shit you have to do. Imagine if your only responsibility was like, I have work at 9 a.m. and I'm off at 3. Like what do you do with the rest of your day? I feel like that's where people are like, fuck it, I might as well start a cooking channel because like as soon as they work their 8-hour shift, there's nothing meaningful in their life.
Yeah. Well, this particular person like got married. I don't even know if she works.
That's that's always the thing too. Is there's a bunch of girls from my high school where they're all like, I'm a wedding planner, or like I help pick bouquets, or like I'm a social media expert, and I'm like, oh, so your husband makes 6 figures and you're bored. That's all it fucking comes down to.
And you're bored.
Yeah. All right, so I've been seeing this on the internet, and I wanted to ask you this. So it's like a would you rather, but it's one group protects you, the rest try to kill you. 5 silverback gorillas, 3 brown bears, 50 hawks, or 10,000 rats. Who are you picking to defend you?
I mean, do the rats know that they're protecting me?
I mean,
or are they just there?
Yeah, they're there to protect you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm just in a room with 10,000 rats.
Yeah. No. They have some.
Okay, that was a lot of options. Can you repeat that one more time?
5 silverback gorillas.
Okay.
3 brown bears, which brown bears are like the biggest bear.
You're talking about like grizzly brown bears?
Yeah, like big ass, like stands up. It's 10 plus feet tall. 50 hawks, which are like big birds that have big claws. I know you know what a hawk is, but I'm trying to like compare it. And then 10,000 rats. That's strictly a numbers choice. I mean, rats.
I would go with
people up.
I would go with the rats for sure. Also, the rats would fuck up the 50. Are the ones so they're protecting me against the other ones?
Yeah.
So the hawks would. There's only 50 of them. 10,000 rats. Those hawks would just get full.
Yeah, they're gonna leave. They're also like eventually when they land to pick up a rat, the rats can kind of just pile on it, like almost like ants type shit.
I don't think you understand how much mass 10,000 rats hold.
That was my thing is I, immediately you're almost like, oh, silverback gorillas, they have opposable thumbs, they're strong as fuck, they're kind of like the more advanced animal, like most humanoid, I suppose. Yeah. But I mean. Literally, if there were 10,000 rats in here, it would fill this entire room.
More than just that.
Like stacked on top of each other.
More than just
I wonder how many rats there are in New York.
Like, well, I was about to just throw you a fun fact. Did you know that all the rats combined in New York are 3 times as much as every single person on the planet combined?
Dude, I mean, then they're
just New York.
Oh, I mean, that's absurd. There has to be
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't think you understand just the density of 10,000 rats.
Yeah, and like
because they're like 2 pounds each. You're talking like 20. You're talking
20,000. I mean,
that's like 10 tons.
That's a ton. Yeah, a ton. Because
a ton is 2,000 pounds.
You're right. Yeah. So yeah,
that's 10 tons.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Protecting you. I would just build a wall and just like open a door. Just in waves, like fucking an army.
It reminds me of. Did you ever watch Deadliest Warrior?
Yes. Yeah. On Spike.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember when they had the zombies and the vampires fight? Like that was their big event one.
I would watch the ones where it would be like KGB versus FBI.
That shit was underrated fucking.
I gotta
show.
start watching the show again.
I can't find it like on any like.
You could buy it on.
Service.
You could buy it on iTunes.
That's the way to go. But yeah, dude, that was always the sickest. The ballistic gel, watching them shoot the weapons into it,
and the accent, and then they would have the whole pigs and shit.
Yeah, dude, slicing them. Those guys look like they had the sickest job ever. They'd just be fucking up pigs, cutting them in half. Be like, this Ginsu knife is sick.
I wonder whatever happened to that show. Well, probably because they started going to like vampires and shit that's not real.
I think you just run out of things where it's like, you know, like there's only so many wars and like so many groups you can have fight that it's like, I mean, they totally could have started redoing groups, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you had the KGB fight the FBI, let's have the KGB fight like the Chinese mafia now, like shit like that. But
that show's the best. I remember when they did, it was like the Nazi SS against like the KGB, and then I remember just like, I remember being like a kid watching this show. I don't know why I was able to watch Spike as a kid, because it'd be like 1,000 Ways to Die, straight up porn, and then just dude like SS guards. But I remember watching this and being like, dude, those Nazi guys are some tough motherfuckers. These guys are pretty cool.
Well, that's what I like too. Is like, I think
if they were only fighting pigs,
if they
which in their head they were, but but I mean, like strictly pork.
Yeah. I mean, it was I think they just ran out of shit to do, like you were saying, because it was good, and I'm sure the ratings dropped. Because at the end, I remember that was.
It'd be like, what if Gandalf fought Harry Potter?
That would be kind of hard though, but that would get so ridiculous, and they'd need like a crazy ass.
Because then he has the unicorn feather in his wand versus his staff. They're like 5 out of 10. It did break in episode 6.
That would be so funny though. You know, they bring in, they're like, this is like a KGB expert. Like, we have a Harry Potter expert. It's just some nerdy ass kid. He's like,
trans people aren't real.
Just J.K. Rowling spewing hate.
That would be so funny if they did Harry Potter versus a trans woman.
Just like a trans division of the U.S. Army. Wow, that'd be hella lit, dude. That'd be awesome.
It would be if trans people were real.
Okay. All right.
That was said by Dom Pierno.
I think that's the same thing as like the rats would overwhelm, and rats fuck people up. Like there's that torture method where they'll put the bucket on your stomach with the rat, and you ever heard of this?
No.
So they take a rat and they put it in a bucket, and then they wrap the bucket around your waist, and then they light a fire and they hold it to the bucket. So the rat becomes like, oh fuck. It's so hot that it just escapes through you. So you just sit there while the rat digs through and eats your organs alive. Like, it's one of the worst torture ways to go out.
No, I've never. Is there a name for it?
No, I don't know. No. I don't know if there is. There's
waterboarding.
There might be, like waterboarding rats. There should be a name for it. But I just know, like, they did it in Game of Thrones. A bunch of like, it was like a torture thing by like the Vietnam and the Viet Cong.
Do you get Facebook memories? From
like
10 years ago.
Yes.
My Facebook memories, which Facebook memories are clutch because stuff will pop up and I'm like, oh, cool. Thanks for reminding me to delete this.
Yeah.
Because it'll literally, like the other day, I got one and it was like 11 years ago and there's just like torture. I was like live tweeting on Facebook about like torture methods and I was like 13. And I was like, dude, I don't know about waterboarding, man, but if you would put some headphones on and force these terrorists to listen to One Direction. And I was just like, that's retarded. Let me delete that. It only had like 5 likes. I was like, dude, who did I think I was? I was like early stage Kaylee, just like nobody's listening.
I would do the same. I would tweet a lot of, or Facebook post a lot of like Eminem lyrics. But it wasn't like, you're
Did you see that video of the guy freaking out in the airport? And he was just no fucking shit. Can you clip in?
Yeah, I can clip in if you show me something.
Bro, I will send you this video. There's this guy freaking out at the airport, and he like smashes his own phone, steps on his glasses, and the entire time he's just like, he's trying to get like arrested, and there's like a group of people just staring at him, and he's literally just like bouncing around, and he goes, I'm not afraid.
No.
Come on, everybody. Not afraid to take a stand.
And he's just bombing.
Everybody walk this road with me together. And he's just like, but literally, and then they'll be like, come on, sir, like we're gonna tase you. And he's like, come on, everybody, we're not afraid. And I'm serious, bro. It's the craziest airport freakout video I've ever seen.
Fuck.
And literally everybody is just like,
dude, it's 6 a.m. Fuck you.
Everyone's just like staring at him. And then there's a point where he's like, you're not on my side. And then just like smashes his phone. It's like the craziest thing. And then just some like white guy just like walks up to him, like daps him up, and he goes, "I'm chill now." And they just like walk away.
Hey.
It's like the craziest thing.
He just needed some like recognition. He just felt.
It was one of those where like I saw it on Barstool on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it was like the caption was like, "Nothing like some good old Eminem on it." He literally was like, just the way he was screaming it, like screaming, "I'm not afraid," and everybody was like, "Dude, shut the fuck up."
Jesus, yeah, my shit. But that's the thing. I wouldn't tweet like, "I'm not afraid to take a stand." It would be like, "I'm gonna pick the world up and drop it on your fucking head," and it'd be like liked by my grandma, like the only person. 2 likes, my grandma and my mom. I'd be like, "Are you okay?" And
Drop the World featuring Lil Wayne.
Yeah. I would just like, I would tweet, I would Facebook post, and I would always
That's
do the.
so funny.
You know, I was such a little like hornball in junior high.
A hornball or a cornball?
Like a horny cornball. I made up a word right now on the spot. I would Facebook. Every memory, when you look at them, there's always like a like my status for a what's up, like my status for a confession, like
truth
and bro,
is,
I'd just be dirty macking in girls' DMs. Like I would just mess.
You would do it in the DMs?
I would leave it on their page. I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, like you're so nice, you're so funny, you're cute. Like we should talk more." And then you could do the confession ones where it'd be like, and I'll DM you a confession, and like any girl that liked it was like, "To be honest, I always thought you were like really hot, but I'm like afraid to talk to you and all that." And I would just throw out like 100 lines and be like, one of them has to like me and talk to me. Just God. The most simp ass shit.
I would get the same shit where literally, it's actually, these Facebook memories are really cool because it would literally be like for a rate. Truth is, question mark? Yeah. And then it would be like for one thing I like about you, doing all of them. Like I was getting.
Yeah. Oh, you'd always dude, to get people to like it.
Doing all of them,
and it'd only be like your homies and hot girls. Those are the only.
I never had that. I had some hot girls, but like it would be more just like random. I'm pretty sure my teacher liked it one time. Like it would just be like random people that just happened to go to my school. Well, also you have to keep in mind that like when I was in high school, like everybody knew me, so I was just like Facebook friends with like everybody from the school.
Yeah.
And so like I would just get like, and so then it's like I'll go on like the Facebook memories and I'll just click on the truth is and see who liked it, and then like go to their page and then just see like the between you. So I could see what I wrote.
Yeah.
And some of them are so funny because it'll be like just some like chick named Megan, and I'm like, "Never met you before, but you seem cool."
Did you guys do like girls and guys would do this? Like this was not just like a me thing. This was like multiple people do this on Facebook. It'd be like 10 likes and I'll post my top 10 hottest at Brea Junior High. So like, dude, like the hot girl, like this one girl, her name was Jolie, and she was like the hot girl in junior high. Her
name was Jolie.
She was like the first girl to get like tits, you know?
So her name Jolie, and you're just spreading it apart?
Jolie, like Jolie. It's one word, Jolie. Like,
okay, you were just saying it so slow.
Not like Jolie, like
okay.
Jolie, like that.
Okay, Jolie.
And like Jollibee, but like Jolie. And she was like, the first girl to kind of have like boobs in the junior high. So you're like, oh, like everyone just loves her. And I remember it'd be like a huge deal. Like she'd post and I'll post my top 10. And everyone on the team was like, holy shit. And it dropped that night in practice. And I remember like I literally remember I was like ahead of a guy. I made like fourth, and he came up to me. He's like, how the fuck are you in front of me, bro? I'm way hotter than you. What the fuck? And it was like this monumental thing. And you would just you would do it and tag like 10 hot girls and just hope that one of them slid in your DMs. Like, oh my God, that was so nice that you put me as your top 10. Like,
were people like fucking in your middle school or something?
No, that's just the thing.
Because I was about to say, like, you're talking about like sliding in DMs. Nobody was like, we were just like so awkward. Like some of the conversations that like popped up like in memories, it literally like in chat, it would just be like, how are you? But it would just be like the letter R and like the letter U.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, like sliding in.
I'm
like,
fine. You? Question mark. And it's like, it's like, we weren't just like, hey, baby, show me them fucking pussy.
Nah. It wasn't anything like that. It was more just like, you'd be like, because all you wanted back then was like, you wanted a girlfriend. Like you were so like back in 7th and 8th grade, me and like all my friends, you're so naive that it's like, you're too young to really be like, what sex is. You've seen porn, but you're like, kind of scared of it, and you're almost taught like, oh, I'm too young, which
And then,
you're
like,
12 and 13.
And you always had like an uncle that would just be like, the real thing sucks. It's just porn is better.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you talking? You clearly
How are you my uncle again? Why are you
clearly
here?
has never had sex before.
Yeah, just some like incel ass uncle who, exactly. And
But
so
he's like not an uncle. He's just your dad's friend.
You're old. You get older, and you're like, that guy wasn't related to me whatsoever.
It's like, and then you realize it's like, how come I haven't seen Uncle fucking Dave in 10 years? He's like, yeah, we got in a fight one time at a bar. It's not a big deal.
And then he's not family, so we never saw him again.
Yeah, dude.
You're like, cool, Dad, cool. That was probably.
I feel
good.
like that's just like a white person thing.
Oh yeah, I have an Uncle Tim who was like my grandpa's sister's like first boyfriend.
Yeah.
And he like
that's such a white
my
person
grandpa's
thing.
sister doesn't come to family events, but he does. And I'm just like, what? How? You're not even my like third cousin. You just have there's zero blood between us. Like this is just weird.
I mean, I don't want to sound like a racist by saying that's a white person thing, but I've never talked to any of my black friends and they've been like, yeah, I just have this guy that comes around that used to like date my sister 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's more like maybe like your dad's like childhood friend, like, oh, that's Uncle Galyn. But it's very clearly established, like, hey, he's not your uncle. He's just a good friend.
See, to me, that's weird. I don't just say my name. You know what I mean? Like that.
Now
that I'm thinking back on it, I would hate that. I would hate somebody being like, that's Uncle Brandon. It's like, what?
Yeah, but like,
what are you talking about?
Now I have to get him gifts for his birthday. You're selfish, Galyn. Don't fucking do that. Fuck your kid.
I'm Uncle Brandon.
Oh man, dude, we just went on tour. That was fun. We didn't do a roadcast at the end, huh? To kind of recap
we didn't.
it. We're just straight shooting that terrible drive.
Also, that was the funniest thing is that I don't remember driving.
What?
Like I told you, I was like on autopilot mode. Because so we do the show, we get out of the show at like 9:30, 10ish, and we're driving 18 hours back because
basically Fargo, North Dakota to Austin, Texas. It's 17 and a half hours if you make 0 stops and hit 0 traffic.
Or if you have me driving for 10 hours.
Yeah.
In which case we got here and we made it in 17 hours, including stops.
Yeah. Because we all like when I drove, I remember I shaved like 30 minutes off.
Yeah, I remember there was a point where I looked over your shoulder and because Ray was like, she was like, well, I hope Andrew and Brandon don't like ruin the progress you made. Yeah. And then I got like that ticket for like no reason.
Oh,
If you guys just drove slow.
Yeah, we're driving like 75 in like a 75
limit.
Zone. You're like, what the fuck
and
are
so
you
then
doing?
I looked over and I saw you going like 88, and I was like, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the thing. My whole method is I'm like 15 over is a felony ticket. As long as I'm under 15 or at 15, they'll leave me alone.
That's only in California.
Really?
Because, dude, literally, so were you asleep when I got pulled over?
Yes, and I was like, I had just taken sleeping pills, so I was like fucking zoinked out of my mind. I was trying to wake up while also like, you're like, we're getting pulled over, and I had my weed pen on me, and it was like in my lap, so I kind of stumble awake, and I'm like shoving shit in my shoe, and then, dude, I fucking remember that like 3 days before I had that other weed pen, and it fell under Andrew's chair, and I could see it, but my fat hand couldn't get it, so I was like, I'll just get it at the end, and then this guy comes to my window and shining lights.
My window down,
dude, and is shining lights on the floor, and my foot is on top of this weed pen, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna go to jail right now because it's South Dakota, bro. Like I'm gonna go serve prison time in South Dakota. And then he brought you into his car.
Yeah, the whole thing was so weird because this was like within the first 4 hours of the drive. This was like 2 hours in because I still had my girlfriend in my AirPods.
And I stayed awake the first hour and a half to watch the Golden Knights game. So I had literally been asleep for like 45 minutes after I ate 2 NyQuil. So I'm just fucking like, well, you're like, we're getting pulled over. You were like, find the registration. And I was just like,
that's what I sounded like to you?
Everything sounded so distorted to me because I was just like, I was so dead asleep.
Dude, I'm cruise controlling 95.
Yeah.
And I zoom by this guy and I see him. Like on the phone call with Ray, I was like, I'm getting pulled over.
So when you hit the brakes really hard at first, like the initial like, oh fuck, it's a cop, that woke me up like I could hear again. And I was like listening, and then I heard you be like, I'm fucked. And I was like, oh no, what's happening right now?
Yeah,
Fuck, I gotta open my eyes. I took my eye mask off and I could just see the lights behind us.
Well, the guy didn't turn the lights on right away. And so he obviously pulled on the highway, started following us. And I was like, and so I'm like giving live updates to her in my ear. And I was like, I'm getting, because I've been pulled over like 15 times before. So I was like, I'm getting
your info,
yeah,
making sure you're not like a murderer, rapist real quick.
I'm getting pulled over. Him not turning his lights on and running our plate was just determining to see, kind of just get an idea of who was in the car, so that he knows like how aggressive he has to like, or how cautionary he has to like walk up to the car. And so then whoop whoop, and I just pulled over right away. And he walked over to the window and he asked for license and registration, and I was like, okay, it's not my car, and so we opened up the glove box and I literally handed the guy a thank you note. And I was like, is this it? And he looked at it and he goes, I don't know what that is. And I was like, okay, well, that's not it. But then later on, I realized that in Texas, your registration's on the window.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, we were digging through the glove box. I was like, where the fuck is this registration? It was just like right in front of us on the window.
Yeah.
But also, I wouldn't know that because my car isn't registered. My tax is like 3 years expired.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty badass.
Ride dirty.
And then he goes, all right, I need you to get out of the car. And it's also, so it's 7 degrees outside.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I need you to get inside the passenger seat of my car. And I remember just looking at you and making eye contact like this. And I was like, and I looked at the guy and I was like, what?
I literally was just like, I don't like, because at this point, we're still under California mindset where I'm like, dude, you're doing felony level speeding. And I thought
I was getting arrested.
So did I. I thought this guy was just being like officer dickhead, and he was going to pull you in and be like, you committed a felony and like try and charge you. And I was just like, bro, are we going to have to go get like Galyn out of a jail? Like what's going to happen? Right. I was really worried because I've never heard anyone say that before.
Get in the passenger seat of my cruiser. And then I said, what? And he said it again. And I was like, well, can I put my shoes on first?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah. And then I was like, can I bring my phone? And he was like, you don't need it. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not getting arrested then. And then
that was good, but I also was like, that kind of makes me nervous that he's like, don't bring your phone, you know?
No, because that told me that it was going to be quick, whatever it was, that he just didn't want to stand in the cold.
That's kind of because I remember I told my mom about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like your grandma says that's normal. It's just that it's cold out." Like and the officer went to my window because he doesn't want to get fucking sideswiped by like a semi truck.
Dude, also, if I was thinking about that, like if he was like leaning in our window and somebody like you've seen those videos of like cops just like getting hit on the freeway.
Oh yeah.
If somebody just plowed into that guy, I would just drive away.
Yeah, I mean I may be like
that's just God.
Yeah.
Saving me a ticket.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, we had some car problems and this cop stopped to help us, and then he got hit by a semi truck, but we gotta go because we gotta get home. So he's on like the corner of the 22. You'll find him. Just kind of leave him
just
like
bleeding
that.
out like the bitch and get out. But yeah, so then I get in the car and I was just being straight honest with him. And what I wanted to say, the second I got in there, I like looked at the guy and I was like, look, man, I'm not gonna suck your dick. Is that's what it seemed like at first?
Oh yeah, I thought you were about to earn not getting that ticket.
Yeah. But this whole time I was like, dude, I was going like 95, dog.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was like, he goes, you know how fast you're going? I was like, yeah, because like I don't lie.
Yeah, you were very honest, which I was surprised.
I never lie.
You said that and I was almost like, what are you doing? Like, the meme of the monkey where he turns, like, what the fuck?
No, they respect that shit because they deal with liars all day.
Of course, yeah.
And so I literally.
And it's also like, imagine if you were like, I have no idea. And he's like, cool, where you were going 97 miles per hour. That sounds worse, almost being like, I had no idea.
Yeah, and so I was cruise control in 95. And he was like, do you know the speed limit here? And I literally was like, not 95? He was like, no, it's 65. And I was like, I was going 30 over. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, so I'm fucked then, huh? And he goes, no, you're just going to, pay this ticket. And then he's printing it out and like all this stuff. And we were just talking. He was telling me about like his wife and shit. And because he was like, oh, like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, stand-up comedian, driving back, just did a gig in Mapleton, going back home. And then he was like, oh, yeah, like, I'm from, I've been to Texas, like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I printed out the ticket, and I was like, dude, how much is this going to be? Because in California, I got a ticket one time just for being in the carpool lane, and it was $650.
Dude, they're expensive.
And so I was like, dude, this ticket's going to be at least a G. Mm-hmm. And I was like, there goes all my profit from
the
fucking
now
tour.
you're in the red from
And then literally it was $170. And I was like, shut the fuck up. I could afford like 3 more of these. And
I might as well just
90
keep
again.
driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, and he literally, there's a part where when I got out of the car, he was like, I'm not the only one working. Make sure you drive the speed limit. I was like, haha, I won't. I was like,
yeah, when you got back in the car, because you were gone, and I was like, all right, he's obviously getting a ticket. Like,
yeah,
if the guy was gonna let us off, like he wouldn't have took him out of the car. Like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
I was like, all right.
That's why I was just straight honest. I was like, just trying to make it quick. Just give me the ticket so I could get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, let's get this process going. And then all that happens, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're fucked. But then you got back in the car, and even the same thing. I was like, how much was it? And you said that, and I was like, that's almost laughable.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, yeah.
30 over.
Yeah,
it's $170. 30 miles an hour over.
Yeah, and
in California, it's like 15 over. That's a felony.
You would literally lose your license.
Yeah,
like that counts as when you get caught doing a point. Yeah, and then you're fucked. Like you're super fucked. So like.
You have to go to traffic school just to get that point off your record.
Yeah.
And I was going 30 over, and they're just like, here, just buy us a pair of AirPods.
I do respect that though a little, because like I there is part of me that's like, hey, I get it. If you're speeding in like downtown LA on like the 5, like you can cause damage, but I at least appreciate they're like, hey, look, you do got to go the speed limit, but we also understand that you haven't seen a house in 30 miles, so you're just passing trucks, like big semi trucks that if you hit them, your car's gonna blow up and nothing's gonna happen to this semi truck. We had a lot of weird shit. I mean, the funniest thing had to be Nebraska, dude.
Well, the whole thing in Nebraska, from checking into the hotel room to like everything was just crazy in that town. From checking into the hotel room from minute 1 to the last thing we did in town. Well, the last thing I did in town.
Yeah.
And then it's just the whole thing. Well, dude, so we pull up, and I pull up the car. I was driving us to Lincoln, Nebraska, and I pull up to this.
A day's value in is what it was called, which is like it's a hotel that people live in. It's a shitty apartment complex, basically, is what it is.
But it had a bar on site, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And they had a pool that was filled in with cement, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Which means somebody for sure died in it.
Yeah. Just covered up.
That's all that means.
Yeah.
And
some guy OD'd in meth in the shallow end, and they were like,
the shallow end. So I'm checking in with the guy. It's like 10 p.m. And I when I was first telling the story, I was saying it was like 1 a.m. because all these check-ins just started becoming like just like a blur.
Yeah.
But then I realized that it had to be like 10 p.m. because I went and drank at the hotel bar, and the hotel bar closes at 11.
Because if you remember, we went to Denver the day before that day, and we left Denver around like 2-ish.
Yeah.
So like 3-ish. So, and it was like 6 hours away. So we're checking in like between 8 to 10 o'clock. Like,
yeah.
It was dark out, but not crazy late.
And so you and Andrew were in the car, and I am checking in, and I'm just kind of like, just normal checking in, giving the guy my ID, your credit card.
Yeah.
And I just hear screaming coming from down the hallway, and I was like, what the fuck? And the guy goes, don't worry about it. She's crazy. I was like, okay. And then like the screaming just started getting closer and closer and closer until all of a sudden she was in the lobby, like closer than me and you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then now I could hear what she was screaming, and she was screaming, please don't. I love you. Don't do this. Please, Greg, I love you. Don't do this. Don't do this. I love you. And then I was like, what the hell? And then this huge white guy wearing a wife beater and face tattoos also stumbles in. And by stumbles in, they were wasted.
Yeah. They
stumbles in.
Spent out, dude.
And I like take a step to my right because I was like, oh shit, and like they're like this close to me because I'm like the check-in desk is right by where the entrance to like the hallway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And the guy behind the counter goes, don't worry, he won't do anything. And then literally within 2 seconds, he just fucking decks her in the face. I'm like, holy shit. And like, I was like, holy shit. But like, and then he just starts like just beating her up. But here's the funny thing is that like, our comic brains are always working.
Yeah.
And so within the first 5 seconds of him just piecing this bitch up, I, in my head, remember him being like, he won't do anything.
Yeah.
And so I start laughing. I'm literally like laughing. And then the cops come and stuff. And so I'm watching the video of this happening with 4 cops, serious Nebraska small town cops that like former military, take their job seriously. And then one of their women got beat up.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're watching this video and I'm checking in. So there's a camera aimed right at me, just my face. And I'm literally watching and you just hear, ah, and then we go,
The cops are looking at you like, what the fuck is your problem?
But there was audio, so you literally hear the guy go, he won't do anything, and then crack, and then just me laughing, because I was literally, and so you hear the guy go, he won't do anything, and then you just see the fist come from like behind my head, because I'm watching it happen right in front of me, and I go like this, like the video is just me going, like it was crazy. But there was a part of me, so like I really wanted the video. I wanted the video really bad, and I was gonna pay for it because I was like, my reaction was just so funny.
Yeah.
But I was like, I didn't get the video because like then you watch the rest of the video and it's like brutally sad. It was like brutally sad.
I mean, that was the crazy thing because okay, so now from my point of view,
yeah,
you get out of the car. We are coming from Denver, which we were supposed to spend another day there. So I'm like, I got to get rid of some of these drugs. So I eat a bunch of like my weed edibles. I smoked before we got there. So I'm like super high in the backseat and I'm very nervous.
Yeah.
And it's, we pull up and I'm like, God, this fucking hotel sucks. And I'm sitting in the back seat and Andrew's sitting in the front seat. And we hear just like a commote, like we're both on our phone, and I hear like yelling and like screaming, and then I hear you laughing, and I'm like, what is going on in there? And then the door swings open, and I see this girl, and she's like kind of stumbling out, and she just looks fucked up, and she's like, oh my God, please stop. And then she gets shoved, and now there's the two people out there, and I'm like, oh fuck, oh fuck. And then he rears back and hits her. And like part of my brain was like, you have to go stop this. This is not okay. But my body was like, I'm not fucking moving, dog. And I found out in that moment that I am not a hero by any means. Because, dude, he hits her. And to my defense, like it's kind of a moving fight. So
yeah,
like,
it was crazy.
If he would have got on top of her, like hit her to the ground and started wailing, I would have got out of the car. I'm not gonna let some dude just like UFC Francis Ngannou ground and pound on this poor woman. But he hits her and she stumbles across like to the front of the car, and she's now in front of the car, and she's like, stop, and like me and Andrew are like frozen with fear. Like the scene from Jurassic Park where the T-Rex looks through, and the guy is like in the fit of his rage just turns and looks into my soul, bro. And I was like, oh. And she takes off running through the parking lot. Like him looking at us almost gave like her time to get away towards the car. And now I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, okay.
When did you come into because there was a part where she was still getting beat up and you were like now next to me inside the lobby.
So at this moment,
while that is happening outside, I'm still inside with the manager, and he literally so the best part is that after the guy's like pummeling her inside, and I'm like
we're like the best part of the domestic violence.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was that's why I didn't get the video, because I was like, this is like brutally sad. I don't want this out there. Even if I were to cut everything out and it's just my reaction, I was like, this is just so sad.
What anyone has to understand is it was just like, it was literally like a video game cutscene where we rolled into town and it loaded us into Nebraska.
Yeah,
like that was our welcome. Oh, you're on the Lincoln, Nebraska mission. It starts with domestic violence. Welcome.
It was Grand Theft Auto.
Yes,
it was top. I've seen a lot of crazy shit. It was like top 3 craziest things I've ever seen in my life. And that's why I was like kind of laughing, because I was like, there's no way this is actually happening.
Yeah.
This isn't real. This isn't, I just got out of a car after a 7-hour drive. And then I'm not even, like you said, like wasn't even like fully loaded in.
Yeah.
I was literally just mindlessly checking into a hotel. And then just like all of a sudden I was like in the octagon. And I'm just like the referee.
And it was like all of a sudden it went from like, we were like, we'd stayed at some hotels that weren't the best, but you kind of create that ambiance where you're like, oh, it's shitty, but like it's not that bad. You can kind of ignore it.
And this one was like that bad.
Immediately it was like, you're in a terrible place. An awful, be scared. And so
scared.
We lock eye contact with this guy, and it almost like snaps me out of like the frozen fear. And I realize I'm like, dude, this is such a dispute that he might go get a gun to like point at his lady, point at us.
Yeah.
I don't know what Nebraska gun laws are like. I'm not getting shot in this Nebraska parking lot. But I also get that Andrew can't. I don't want to leave the car here with all this stuff. I'm in the back seat off 150 milligrams of weed. I look at Andrew and I go, I can't drive the car. Either get in the driver's seat and get us out of here, or I'm leaving you.
Bro, if I was in the lobby and I just watched you guys peel off, I would have been like, what the fuck?
Well, my thought was like, just pull it around.
What
in
if
the
you guys
back so we don't
peeled
get
off
shot?
and you guys peel off and I get blown away in the fucking lobby?
It comes back in to air it out. I just thought it would like get us out. Like I'm like, hey, if you want to leave your car here, that's fine. But I can tell Andrew's 100 times more scared than I am. Like,
oh yeah,
this is like he's not used to anything remotely close to this.
No, bro, he had never. Where were we at? Where he was like, oh, I've never been to one of these, and we were at like Cane's. And we were like,
yeah, it was something super like.
Yeah.
He lives a very basic life, so it's like he's not ready for this shit. And it was, bro. Have you seen the other guys?
Yes.
He morphs. I swear to God, he morphs into Will Ferrell's character at that moment. And I go. He looks at me. He goes, "You drive," and I go, "I'm high. Get in the front seat." And he goes, "Okay." And he unbuckles, and like. I mean, dude, you just climb over the center console. He goes like this. He goes, "Here, hold my laptop." He goes, the center console. He goes, "All right." And he goes, huh, and gets about like one cheek on the center console, and then is like, huh, and hops back and he goes, "I can't make it over." And I'm like baffled. I'm like, "What do you mean you can't hop over the seat? The guy's gonna fucking kill us, dude." And he was like, "I can't get in the driver's seat." And I just looked at him and I opened the door and I said, "Goodbye." And I closed the door and just left him in there. And I came in the lobby and you were like, "What's up?" And I was like,
"What's up?"
And I was like, they're headed towards their car now. I'm going in the other room. I'm not getting shot in the lobby. And I walked around the corner. And then that was when Andrew calls the cops.
Oh my God. I can't believe he did that. And that's the craziest thing. So the cops show up.
Which, honest to God, I was going to call the cops in a second.
Yeah,
Someone needed to call the cops.
From somewhere else. He called the cops from, like, the lobby. Like, what if that guy walked back in and you're just on the phone with the cops?
Exactly.
Well, that's what made the guy rage. Was that, like, he threw her into the lobby and she's like, "I'm going to call the cops." And he's like, "You're going to call the who?" And they started, like, beating the shit out of her. And so, like, and that's when she was like, "I'm going to call the cops." And that's why I was like, "What the hell?" And the guy said, "Don't worry, he won't do anything." And he was like, "You're going to call the who?" And then just cracked her. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And so, like, that's the real talk, what happened. And so Andrew's just like standing in the lobby on the phone with the police. I'm like, "Bro, you got to go in the other room or something."
Well, now he says this too, and I'm like, I have a weed pen. Like, I need to get out of here. Like, you just brought the cop. Like, now the cops are our problem. Also, my eyes are shut. I just ate 150 milligrams. I'm not talking to the cops now.
And so Andrew talks to the cops, and he didn't even see the full thing. I wasn't even gonna talk to the cops because I was the same thing.
I told him I saw nothing. I was like, I saw nothing. I don't want to talk to you.
And so, but Andrew was just in the car, only saw the end. Gives them a statement like he saw the whole thing. He gave him a statement like he wrote the play.
Yeah. He was like, it was a warm, crisp summer night. Like, all right, dude.
And so I wasn't even going to say anything. And then Ray was like, you're joking, right? Like, you're going to go tell them, right? And I was like, yeah, totally kidding. Yeah, on my way right now. And then I went and I talked to them.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because they asked Andrew, they're like, "All right, what's your name? Let me get your phone number. Let me get your address." And he gave him like his address with his apartment number, his actual phone number, and his actual name. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then they asked me, and I was like, they were like, "Can we get an address?" And I was like, "No." They're like, "Can we get your phone number?" I was like, "No." And then they asked me, they're like, "Can we get a name at least?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll give you my first name. That's it." And then, because I was like, dude, it's like, also you have the video.
You don't need, this information doesn't pertain, but it's like, God forbid, fucking wife beater Greg has his brother works in the police force.
Yeah.
And now he leaks that information. And now I get you live in Austin, but like, he knows you now. Like, it's just,
he has your address, your phone number, your name.
And the saddest part of all of this,
it's a small town. You don't know these fucking people, bro. We clearly don't know where we are.
And the saddest part is, like, the cops show up, they're gone because they get in the car and drive away. Mm-hmm. They leave. The people come back. The cops come back, and nothing happens because she didn't want to press charges.
Yeah,
and that's what it comes down to. And
every time.
Like, and it's sad, and I'm not blaming her. Like, that's a super shitty situation, but that's exactly why I'm not going to give him information.
Yeah.
Because, like, that guy faced no repercussions for what he did. He's definitely done it since we left.
For sure. Probably did it that night.
The one hilarious thing out of all of it, though, is that he was, in fact, wearing a wife beater. That was cool. That was, like...
Yeah, cool.
That was just, like... Because, I don't know, I've never, like... You're like, why do they call him a wife beater? And then the guy was the fucking poster child. He was like a mannequin come to life, committing the acts of what the T-shirt is made for. Huh. We also stayed in that hotel in South Dakota where we found out there were just murders at every month.
Well, dude, so my cousin he's a firefighter, and so he's from California, and so he moved his family out there like 15 minutes away from Rapid City, because job opportunity and money and shit. And I post a video on my Snapchat story of the inside of this hotel, where there's a waterfall, a water slide, a nice pool area, and ping pong tables and all sorts of crazy shit. And he sees that on my story and he replies to it and he goes, "Hey, is that the Grand Gateway Hotel?" And I was like, "Yeah." And all he says is, "Right on." And then 2 days later, we do the show, and he shows up, and we're having a beer, and he goes, "Man, I can't believe you're staying at the Grand Gateway Hotel." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Dude, we pick up dead bodies from there like 2 or 3 times a month." And I was like, "Dude, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell me that earlier?" And he was like, "I don't know, just wanted to tell you in person."
When he told me that, I was like, "What the fuck, dude?"
I was like, "Dude, what if I didn't make it in person?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, don't worry. It's just Native American on Native American violence." And he said that to me like it was going to like calm me down. Yeah. And I was like, "Bro, I look Native American."
Yeah, see, when he told my white ass, I was like, "Oh, phew, I'm safe." No one here thinks that I am a Native American.
And then that was the funniest thing about
it was funny though, because it made me very much be like, he's part of the Nash lineage, even if his last name's not Nash. It's just the fact that he's like, "But I wanted to see your face in person." That's some shit you would do,
That
bro.
is some me shit.
I mean, literally, before we left, there was something where you were like, "I gotta tell you something, but I want to wait till I see you in person so I can see your reaction."
That did happen.
Literally is how the tour kicked off.
Yeah, that is true. But the funniest thing about the Grand Gateway Hotel is if you Google the Grand Gateway Hotel and you just click news, there's every news site covered this, because like 3 months ago, the very white owner, like assaulted a bunch of Native American people.
Jesus Christ.
And then put a sign in the window that says "No natives allowed." And it's in South Dakota, where like everybody that worked there is Native American.
Yeah, and we also heard that it's the night manager that she'll also apparently let you fuck her in the ass, is what the Yelp reviews were saying.
But then there was a different night manager every time, and they all looked like they would let me fuck them in the ass.
Well, that was the thing about that hotel is we kept saying it is like it was probably the most baller hotel in 2004, but like now it was just out of date. Shitty as fuck.
I had a great time.
I still had fun, but we saw we walked in and there was like a hunchbacked lady who had 5 teeth that were as black as this couch, and was just, that's an insult to this couch.
You're
right. She scared me so bad when I was pushing the dolly that I swear to God, part of my mind was like, just hit her with the dolly, like pin her in the corner.
Bro, have you seen Lord of the Rings, the third one?
Yes.
You know where the scene where Gollum and his brother find the ring, and then he's like transitioning.
Dude,
she looked like mid-transition Gollum.
Oh yeah, she was 2 months away with the Ring of Power from turning into that. Like
2 months with the Ring of Power.
She was right there, bro.
But her Ring of Power is just like a dime bag.
Yeah.
She has it around her neck.
It's just her pookie tied around the little fucking necklace. Jesus. Yeah,
her whole mission is like to destroy the crack pipe. The crack pipe of
And
doom.
she hears voices just like Smeagol, but it's the fucking shrug line. Bro, she
fucking hits the crack pipe and she just goes, "I see you."
And she just stumbled into this one room that sounded like there was 15 people in it. And I remember trying to trick myself. I was like, "Nah, bro, like they're not even crackheads. They're probably just fucking hanging out." And then I went into the gym. The dumbbell rack. Well, there was a dumbbell rack that should have held 5 through 50-pound dumbbells. There was a blue 3-pound dumbbell and one singular 20-pound dumbbell, which meant every crackhead was taking that dumbbell, going into the room and being like, "Can I trade this?" And the crack dealer was like, "I could get $15 for this. Here's a rock," and would send them on their way. I mean,
I don't want to say the room number because they actually were dealing drugs out of that room. Yeah. Like without a doubt. Don't say it, dude.
Don't say it, yeah.
Don't. Oh, I thought you said I'm gonna say it.
I want to say it, but I remember I'll never forget it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget the room number, but like, don't fucking say it, bro, because like, legit, we gave the name of the hotel away. Do not let us get killed over this meth operation.
Yeah, for real. It was. It was just. Yeah, it was one of the. But that's kind of the thing. Like, that's what we mean when like
the people who
listening is probably like, "Jesus Christ, weren't you scared?" And it's like, if you let them do their meth in peace, they're not gonna bother you.
I did. There was one night where we were there where I got super drunk at the hotel bar because, dude, I was getting double whiskey and Sprites, and they were $4.
Oh yeah, and
double whiskey and Sprites for $4. A single was $2.
They were crazy drinks. They had fucking slot machines from 1885 in there. Like they were printing out tickets and shit. We had to pay with quarters.
And I got wasted, and we had to walk to get to our room from the hotel bar. You have to walk by this meth room.
Yeah.
And there was a part of me that wanted to just fucking ding dong dash.
Oh my god.
Just but like bang on it like I was the feds. And then just like take off. But also some of our room keys, every hotel we were at, our room key just wouldn't work. And so I knew that the one time I would bang on the door would be the one time I would just be like, click, 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 click. And then like I just get stuck out there and blown away. Remember when I lived at the apartment and the neighboring wall, the guy was always just like beating up his girlfriend?
Oh yeah, we now just have it's like 3 Hispanic dudes who speak
they
no
still
English.
Play music all
oh
the
yeah,
time?
from 10 to 8, mariachi music plays, but they stop as soon as it's quiet hours. I love them. They're great fucking neighbors. They're
really
no problems. Do you also remember because
those people, the domestic violence people, they were like the cops. The cops would show up all the time, and he would legit like beat the shit out of her, and then literally. One day I was like, because there was one time, so that the apartment complex started doing renovations, and I came home from something, and there was just a door like outside, like a bedroom
that night
door.
he knocked all the picture frames off my wall.
Really?
Yeah, I woke up to like a poster fell, and I was like, oh my god, there's an earthquake, and I was like, wait, I live in Texas.
Yeah.
And I just heard like, this is what you want to do. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, and it just reminded me of the Family Guy skit, Horton hears domestic violence.
There's probably 2 sides to this story.
Shit. Do you remember too? Like probably 3 weeks when we moved into our apartment, that fat dude, as we're walking to our apartment, he goes like, "Hey," and we're like, "What's up, man?" He goes, "Did I break into your apartment last night?" And I was like, we both looked at him like at each other. Like, did he just ask us if he broke into his apartment? And we were like,
into our apartment,
and we were like, what? And he was like, yeah, I got pretty messed up a few nights ago. Thought it was my apartment. Apparently, I kicked someone's lock in and slept on their couch. Did I do that to you guys? We were like, no, man. He's like, shit, I got to go find out who to apologize to.
Yeah, because he was literally just like, man, I was hoping it was you because you guys seem cool. I just wanted to say sorry. And we're like, well, if it was us, we accept your apology, man.
I was like, bro, lock the doors at all times now. This guy was so fucked up. He kicked through a deadbolt lock.
I was already locking the doors because, dude, like it was within the first month we moved there. You and Erica, this was like 2 weeks in, and you guys went to France. You guys went to France for 2 weeks. So I was alone in the apartment for 2 weeks, and so like I have always had like roommates, so I'd never been alone for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The first night, it's 5 a.m. and I get woken up to just bam, 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 just 15 gunshots in a row, loud ass gunshots, and I have the Citizen app. I start getting, and I could hear screaming. Yeah. Because it was like just down the way in the courtyard of the window. And I was alone. I didn't have my dog yet, nothing. And so I hear these screaming, and I just hear, they got my stepdad. No. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And it was clearly gunshots. Like I woke up with the first 2 gunshots, and it was an AK-47. So like, I don't know if you've ever heard one of those get fired.
Distinct sound.
And it's very loud. It's very insane. And so this guy, and so I'm getting live updates on Citizen, but it was kind of funny. So like I ran to the kitchen, and I'm like, because I was my bedroom was like exposed to like where that was happening. So I was like, I ran to the kitchen and like laid flat because I was like, dude, I might get hit. Like that happens all the time where people just get hit like with a stray bullet. And so I'm like laying in the kitchen, and I'm like just like live getting updates from the Citizen app, and it's like suspect, and that like the police, the SWAT team showed up, and like the suspect is climbed into a tree, is having police standoff in tree, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then like there's people, if you're within a certain area, you could like comment, and people are like, prayers, and I'm like, prayers? This is like, fuck that guy. He deserved it. You don't just fucking, I mean, I don't know what happened, but you don't get just blown away 15 times if it's like somebody hated what you did.
It wasn't a home invasion.
Yeah,
they
that was
clearly had beef.
He got blown away like in like outside of the apartment, like he owed money or something. But like, dude, he literally got shot so many times with an AK-47, 15 times. And I was like, dude, there was nothing left of that guy but his toe. He was like Peter Pettigrew. It was like he got obliterated. Obliterated.
Remember in Colorado when we pulled up, we heard just like and Andrew was like, Was that fireworks?
Yeah, I forget. I don't think he said fireworks. He said something else, but we were like, no, that's somebody getting smoked.
Yeah, that person's dead. I don't see any fireworks in the sky, and that sounded close, and there was no echo. That guy's
It was across the street.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
across the street.
Yeah, fuck, dude. Yeah, we went to some like shitty places, but it was overall it was a fucking
The tour was a smashing success.
smashing success. Really fun. It was really cool. Like, because some people have been asking how it went and shit, and I think the coolest takeaway was just that like comedy is that weird profession where like you can be booked to do a show by a venue and people will not treat you like your art matters or you're like not perfect. Like they're almost like, you know what I mean? Like even if there's a band playing, people at least are respectable enough to be like, oh, that's cool. They're playing music. People will be like, fuck this comedy. Every show we went to and every person was like so thankful and like so nice. And
this is how little some people respect stuff like this. I'm not going to say who it was because I can't say who it was.
Yeah.
But I took this person to open for me somewhere, and there was.
You have to tell me after the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I took this person to open for me somewhere, and we do the show. It was great. And so we do the show, and this is a multi-layered venue. So outside on the patio, there's a band.
Yeah.
And so this girl who's the girlfriend of like the lead singer of this like cover band that's playing on the patio, was instead of watching that guy, her boyfriend's music, was inside and saw our comedy show, and then started like throwing ass at the guy who opened for me.
Oh damn!
And it was so funny because I'm sure she would have thrown ass at me, but I was just like oblivious and obliterated because we had a bottomless bar tab.
Oh yeah.
So I was like obliterated, and I'm just playing pool for like hours.
Yeah.
And then I find out later that instead of watching this dude, her boyfriend set, she fucking sucked his dick, my opener's dick, like while her boyfriend was playing outside.
Bro.
That's how little people respect. That's how little people respect comedians or artists or music. That she was like, I'm here to support my boyfriend. Didn't watch his set, watched comedy, blew a guy, all within that guy's set, and then probably kissed him and was like, you killed it.
Dude, that's nightmare fuel right there.
That's my biggest fear.
Nightmare fuel. Imagine you hop on for a 45-minute set and your girl's just polishing off some dude in the background. I mean, that's some shit that like, that's like 10 years from now, you're on this couch talking to a therapist. Like, yeah, this is just why I can't trust people. Like,
well, here's the thing with the thing in Nebraska with the stairway.
Yeah. I mean, that too. I mean,
it's like,
how much I don't want to, I'm trying to tiptoe around what we're talking about right now.
She knows about
it. Can I talk about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so you, after a show, like, to put it in perspective, we're doing a show in Nebraska for 7 people.
Well, we had like 25 pre-sales, and only 4 of them showed up.
Only 4 pre-sales show up. So it's just a light show. It's a rough show.
I had a great time.
I mean, actually, it's not rough. I still had really fun.
Yeah.
Everyone bought, all 7 people bought in. But then about halfway through my cold open set, a girl comes in, and like a girl that's our age, because everyone else is like 45 to 55.
She was like 28 or 29.
Yeah, like around, and she comes in, sits down. Galyn is sitting like the room. Everyone's on one side, so you're essentially performing sideways. She sits down on this other side of the room by where Galyn's kind of sitting. I'm
sitting in the back of the last table in the back corner on the other side of where you're.
And
performing.
I'm not really looking over there because it's like I don't. First off, in shows like that, I don't ever want to look at my friends.
Yeah,
like I don't ever really want to look at you during a set. And like, I glance, and this girl is now sitting there, and she's like really close to you. She's kind of paying attention to the show. She's not really a huge problem during my set. Like, I can see her talking to you, but it's very minor. It almost seems like she's like, did I miss any of the show? Like, thinks you're almost an audience member or something.
Yeah, I didn't say anything to her. She was just talking in my ear. There was a point during your set where she leans over and she like grabs my thigh, and I don't like getting touched.
Yeah.
And so she like grabs my thigh, and so immediately I was like creeped out. I was like, motherfucker. And she like leans in and she goes, I love comedy. And I was like, I literally to her face said, yeah, you know who else loves comedy? All these other people who paid to be here. Why don't you watch the show? And she was like, oh, you're so funny. When are you going up? And I was like, the end. And then like literally
well, because she's like talking to you during like Andrew's set. Like on
like
you,
loud,
to the point where Andrew's like, "What are you doing, dude?" And like,
because he thought I was throwing games. So he like calls
yeah.
me out. I was like, dude, I'm not saying anything.
This girl just is like coming on you. You come back to me. I'm in the back now. My sit's over, and you're like, dude, this girl will not leave me alone. Like, this shit is crazy. And so then, like, show ends, and she's immediately, I mean, she was dying at everything you said. She was answered every question you asked to the crowd. Show finishes. I'm cleaning up. She's all over you. You guys go disappear.
Well, what happened was, we're at the bar, and so I did this podcast in Nebraska, the Dad Man Cave podcast, which was fun.
Yeah, shout out them for coming out to the show.
And they were at the show, right? And so this is what the craziest thing is. I was trying to explain this to like Ray, is that like to these two dudes, I'm like a god. After this, because they do the research, listen to a bunch of episodes of the podcast, go through my entire Instagram page. They know all of these crazy stories that I have. They start asking me to tell these crazy stories on their podcast, and they're just dying because I'm telling these crazy stories. And then all of a sudden, I'm in their town, in person, in the flesh, talking to them. And right next to them, now they're in one of the crazy stories. Now they're part of it.
Dude, they were so, like, when it was happening, they were just like, bro, like, what's it like going on the road and seeing this? I'm like, actually, it's terrible a lot of moments, but it's pretty cool, you know?
So that's why, so I was like right next to her, and so she... so I'd walked away and gone to the bar, and so she was like, man, it sucks, because we were leaving after that gig. We were driving to St. Paul, and immediately after the gig. And so she's like, man, it sucks that you have to leave right away. And I was like, even if I were to stay in town, what would we do anyway? And she was like, I don't know, have some fun. And then I went and I checked a watch. I just looked at my skin, and I was like, well, looks like I have 10 minutes to have fun right now if you're down. And she was like, she like laughed, and she was like what? You want me to have sex in the bathroom? And I was like, nah, but you could suck my dick in the stairway over there. And she literally turned, grabbed her purse, and I just followed her to the fucking stairway.
Jeez.
And so like, and then she just sucked my dick.
Well, the craziest part is that all this happens, blah, blah, blah. Like, we leave, we look into who she is, and she's like, from Austin somehow.
Is she?
She said she was from Austin. That's the thing.
Oh, I don't remember that.
She's gonna pull. We said where this podcast is at the start of it. She's gonna be standing outside this door next episode, waiting for you.
I didn't know she was from here.
She said she's from Austin.
I don't remember that.
And the bartender pulled up her ID for us while you were getting topped off, because I was like, I want to look this girl up. So he's like, oh, let me give you her information. And so the guy pulls up her ID on like the computer, because he has to like put it in and stuff, you know. And he's like, this is her name. And yeah, I looked at her ID. It says she lives in Austin. Her address is in Austin. And then she said she was out there taking care of her like sick grandma. And then you found out that she has a boyfriend, which is, I'm just like, Jesus, like, well, this.
I think because her Venmo, because she Venmoed me for the ticket.
Yeah.
And so I saw her Venmo, and so I like clicked on her like Venmo history, and it's like all just like with one guy, and it's like, for to get your nails done, fucking coffee on me, like stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this bitch has a fucking boyfriend.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was from Austin at all.
That kind of scandalous.
That kind of scares me.
Yeah. I guess I forgot to tell you that. Sorry to break that news.
Why did you not tell me that?
Sorry, man. I was so sad I had to drive immediately after that. You know, I didn't want to ruin the dick suck.
Well, the thing that's crazy is that, so Ray's my girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
And then, for those people who don't know, she is also married.
Yeah.
And so we're in a relationship outside of that. It's just to catch people up to speed. It's called hot wifing. It's basically her husband feels that she's so hot that he has to share her. So we have a relationship outside of that. So she only sleeps with him and me, but I'm allowed to hook up with other people.
Yeah.
As free as I wanted. Her only 2 rules for me are wear a condom and let her know.
Yeah.
So she knows about this stairway girl. But here's the thing. Here's where like I fucked up is that when she was like being all crazy, being all touching me, and like and I came to back, I was like, this bitch is crazy. Like, don't worry, I'm not gonna do anything with this chick. Like, this chick is insane. Don't worry, I'm not gonna do anything. And like reassured her that I was like don't worry. Mm-hmm. And then she was kind of just like, well, you say that now, but like I know you like to drink, so like you're probably gonna have a couple beers and like change your mind. And then I had a couple beers, and I was like, well, maybe this bitch could just like suck my dick or something.
Yeah.
And then like, which is fine. Like I wasn't gonna fuck her, even if the chick was like fuck me, I'd be like, nah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, you could just suck my
dick.
We
gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah. And then and so then it was crazy because we're driving, and so like obviously I was gonna tell her that I hooked up with the chick because I have to.
Yeah.
And but like I was like, like, when should I tell her? And so she calls me, and she's having like a when we were drunk, she's having like a bad night.
Yeah,
so
she's having a rough ass.
She was having a rough night,
yeah.
and so I was like, oh man, like I don't want to tell her now and like make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, I talk her down from whatever was going on, and then she was like, so, that crazy girl ever fucking come and say anything to you after the show? And I was like, you want the truth? Or you want, because I always tell the truth no matter what. And so I was like, do you want the truth now or later? And she was like, what the fuck?
I mean, that's kind of giving her the truth right then and there, too.
Yeah, and so then she was like, what happened? And I was like, you know, she came up to me, said some shit, you know, and then, you know, she sucked my dick in a stairway. And then she was like, she what? And I was like, she sucked my dick in a stairway.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and so then she was just kind of like taken back. But here's the thing, you know, what I learned from it is just like instead of like, you know, obviously this whole thing is new to me, but like you gotta just open-ended conversation and like, or not communication, not conversation. Communication, just instead of being like, I'm not gonna fuck this chick or I'm not gonna hook up with this chick, and then going and doing it.
Don't even mention it until
don't
it's
even don't even mention it. And if you know what I mean, don't even mention it until it happens. Because then, you know, obviously we care about each other and stuff. And so like, if I'm like out at a bar or something, I'm like, I'm not gonna text her and be like, I think I'm gonna fuck this chick, and then I strike out, and now she's like, oh, now he wants to go fuck this other chick.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just open-ended communication. And I don't even. Here's the thing, I don't even want to hook up with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not actively swiping on Tinder. I'm not actively going up to chicks at bars anymore. I'm very happy and satisfied with what's going on.
That girl, I remember I told you after, I was like, that was Mickey Mouse head. Like, that girl walked up and served it to you on a platter.
I know.
That's you're in an open relationship where it's like, that's an opportunity for you, and you're like, yeah, I wasn't out seeking it, but I mean, you're 12 days into a tour where you're allowed to get your dick sucked by someone if you want, and then this girl is like, basically like, please let me suck your dick. You're like, might as well almost.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, that's what I was saying. That like, I mean, dude, and when the chick was sucking my dick, I literally had my eyes closed and I was just like pretending it was Ray.
That's cute.
No, because I was just like, because it was better than I was looking down at this chick. She was like a 6.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
But like, it was also crazy because it was like, fuck, what was I about to say? Yeah, because I explained it to Ray. I was just kind of like, I was like, man, you know, I was gonna jerk off that night. I was gonna bust a nut that night anyway, whether I was jerking off or whatever. Might as well let this chick jerk me off for me. Yeah, might as well let this chick just suck my dick. I was gonna bust a nut anyway. Might as well just use this chick.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to get used.
She
literally was like, I've been waiting for this for 3 weeks. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
That was the wildest part when she kept saying that. I was like, all right, buddy. I wish they could have done a split screen parallel, because while you were just being a cool guy getting your dick sucked in the stairwell, I was hunched over in the car eating a Subway sandwich by myself.
Didn't you say that like the bartender was like making commentary or something?
Dude, yeah, they were literally coming up with stories where they were like, because I was like, I'm going to go eat my sandwich in the car. And they were like, just come in and eat it. And I was like, okay. And so like I came back in for a second, and then they were like, oh yeah, dude, I bet she's probably a man, and I bet she already bit his dick off, and he's bleeding out in the stairwell. You're going to take your boy to the hospital after this. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? What are you guys saying to me right now? I was like, all right, for sure. And then that was kind of just like, yeah, and then we got the fuck out of there. But
they all dapped me up like a motherfucker afterwards, because that's what I'm saying. Like, these dudes are like small town dudes. They've never seen some dude just like they don't know.
They've seen it in movies.
They've seen it in movies.
They literally should have played when you were walking out of there, been like, the song where it's like, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Like, that was playing as like fireworks shot off as you left. And they were just like, there goes that man, mama. Look at him go.
There goes that hero by Foo Fighters.
There goes my hero.
Which was the best part, because you know that, because that guy was the owner behind the bar. And so you know that every other crew of comedians that comes into town, they're like, do you know Galyn Nash?
He got his dick sucked in the stairwell. What are you pussies gonna do?
Yeah,
it's
so funny.
It's good ass tour though, dude. Thank you for taking me on.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Can't
wait for the next one.
I know, for real. All right, we got to wrap up here, but I want to hear. You said you had a good would you rather, right?
It's not a would you rather this or that. It's something that me and Dom were talking about because like literally like I was fully convinced that I could fight John Jones.
Oh, dude.
But like, here's the thing: is that like not fight John Jones, because obviously he would destroy me. But he thinks I was like, dude, I could last 30 seconds in the ring with John Jones, whether that's me just running around, like blah blah blah. And so basically, it's like, would you rather? Like, it's like the would you rather would you place a wager on me fighting John Jones in an octagon But if I last 30 seconds, you have to swallow a glass of your dad's cum. If I last 30 seconds, then I'm John Jones. But if I don't and I just get straight folded, you get $1 million.
See, oh man. My concern is like you're very quick and fast.
Yeah.
So like you ever seen in Rocky when they have to catch the chicken and they're chasing the chicken around?
Yes.
I'm imagining that it's catching you is a lot like that because I think here's my concern is like
John
all right,
Jones is also very athletic.
round starts off, he's gonna sprint at you. You probably can get one way around him to the other side. I think he catches you within 15 seconds. But my thoughts are that you kind of are like, no, stop, and like kicking him off you, and he's going to go for the choke. And I feel like you can stay awake till the 30-second mark before he just puts you to sleep.
Dom was saying that he was like, dude, he wouldn't even have to get you to the ground. He would just fucking kick you in the head and you'd be
That's
out.
also the thing, too. I mean, also, like, think of the Ben Askren fight where he just runs and knees him in the face. And he's
Well, that's what I was saying to Dom. I was like, dude, because we were just going through these whole scenarios. I was like, dude, what if I fucking landed like a lucky knee to his temple?
Nah,
and
that's not. Your best bet is to run.
And then but like he goes for like a takedown, and I like jump some weird way, and I accidentally knee him in the temple and like kill him or something, and, like knock him out. And then Dom was just like, for that to happen, he would have to fucking fall into his own knee. He would have to fall into his own knee for you to knock himself out.
I think I would trust John Jones to get you because I think it's also like an NFL player thing where you're like, I could run around, but he like knows how to cut you off in the octagon.
Yeah.
Like he knows that
he's
you're
also
like,
athletic as fuck.
Yeah, he's huge. I don't think you could do it. What's funny is I had on here, would you rather get kicked in the nuts or punched in the face by John Jones?
And so but we go through all these like scenarios and stuff, and we were just talking about how funny it was. But then my girlfriend, she used to do like jujitsu for like I guess 10 years or something. It was some tri-county champion or whatever. She said, I didn't believe her. And I was like, she showed me pictures, but she said she'd show me her ribbons. I was like, still don't see these. I haven't seen these ribbons, lady. Yeah. But no, I believe her because yesterday, before we go downtown, because I was doing a show at Vulcan and she came, we were at my house. Whiskey was on her dog bed, just like chewing on a bone that Ray had got her. And I brought up, because we had just watched the fights. And so I brought that up. And so I'm on top of her and I was like, you can't slip this. Yeah. You can't slip this. And so then, it took her, at least a minute. Yeah. But she did slip it. And then she got me in this and she had it, bro. Like she had the
chin and everything. And you were like,
I thought I had it, but dude, it was weird. Like she didn't have it. She didn't have it. She had it like on my chin. But then, when you're like playing tug of war with like a dog and then you loosen up a little bit so that they readjust. And that's when you pull it out. Yeah. It was like that. She like loosened up for a quick sec so that I could like readjust and then bam, then she had it. And I was like, and she had the full thing. And I was like, but I wasn't going to tap out, but I was like turning purple.
You saw the light fading. You're like, oh,
and so then dude. It was crazy. So like, we're so focused on what's going on that we didn't notice that Whiskey had stood up and was watching this very, very intently. Yeah. And then I made like a choke sound and Whiskey started growling. And we look over and I look over and Ray immediately like I tapped out and Ray looks like she's like holy shit and like gets behind me because like Whiskey's eyes had like turned black. Like she was ready. She was like, that's my fucking dad. What are you doing?
That's sick.
Like it was crazy. But like it made me. And then we calmed her down and Whiskey was like back to normal and like she was totally fine. But I was just like, that's crazy that like because I've never seen like that side of her. Well, almost me and her. Me, Ray, and Whiskey went to this. You got to take your dog to this place. It's pretty cool. It's called, I'll ask her to send me the information. It's this bar, but it's an outdoor no-leash dog park with a bar. And it's fucking, you have to have a dog to be in there. And it's fucking awesome. The dogs are just playing. They have fire pits and you're just drinking while your dogs are playing around. It was fucking sweet. And so, but we're leaving and she's on my right. Whiskey's walking between us because, Whiskey's fine off leash. She's walking between us and this little white dog comes up from behind us and like, starts barking at us and then tries to bite my ankle, literally goes in to bite me. And before it even had the chance, Whiskey had turned around and like bodied this fucking dog and just started like talking her shit. And like the dog like just ran away. And I was like, it's crazy how protective Whiskey is of me. Cause like, you think she's kind of like a dumbass, like just kind of like you said, ooh, I'm Whiskey, no thoughts in my head. Yeah. But then you see shit like this and shit like that. I was like, oh, like she would like give her life for me.
No, yeah, that's cool that your dog will like back you up.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was a good way to divert that you got your ass beat by your girlfriend, but
it was crazy because like I was like my throat, like it hurts, dude.
Yeah,
like she had me, and I was like,
dude, when someone knows how to choke you, like it's like not good.
I've also never been in like one of those situations, so like I like it was so funny. Like I had her leg, and she goes, "Oh no, not a leg lock," and then fucking just like choked me out, and I was like. Oh man, she's like talking shit. Like wow,
yeah.
She was like talking shit.
You're a dumb heckler to her, basically.
Yeah. She goes, "Oh no, not a leg lock." But here's the thing: like I didn't catch it as sarcasm at first, so I was like, "I got this, bitch."
Yeah.
I was literally just wrapped around her leg. She was like, that has anything to do with anything. Like, and I was like, the whole time I was like, "You don't have it, you don't have it," and then she like totally fucking had it, and then I couldn't talk anymore.
Damn, I like that. All right, dude, I gotta fucking run to go help film this skit shit. So. We'll wrap up here. We're at like an hour and a half anyway, so it's already 11:40. So it was a good ass fucking pod. You want to plug anything real quick?
Yeah, Barely Serious podcast. Yep. And you know, I'm gonna be posting a lot of clips from the tour because there was a lot of crazy shit that happened. You know, fortunately, 2 of the tapes are unusable. Thanks a lot, Andrew. And because he set up the camera next to a refrigerator and then one next to a fan, which is tight. Glad I paid for it. But yeah, so I'm going to be posting a lot of clips from this stuff, so check out my Instagram, and it's just my fucking name.
Hell yeah, guys. Everything's in the bio if you want to go check them out. Check out Barely Serious. We did 2 roadcasts, so if you want to kind of hear a more live update in the moment, we did one when we left and one way halfway through the tour. Make sure you go show them love. Please rate, review, and subscribe. All my social media is in the bio. Go like the page and all that. Thank you guys for listening. If this is your first time or your 140th time, I appreciate you. And most importantly, thank you for letting us be your last resort. See ya.
Yeah, check it out now. It's like this Shaw, it's like that Anna. It's like this Shaw, it's like that Anna, like that. Check it out now, check it out. Yo, this one right here is about a girl. And you've seen this girl before if you've been to any club in the whole wide world. Check it out. Her nickname's Last Resort.